What do we got?
Well, Brad, last time you guys did a real good job on their top guys. What did you do well that weekend that you want to see this weekend?
Well, the same way, the mentality of defending with play away from the puck. We knew going into the Western weekend, and we came off that St. Cloud weekend where we didn't have the results we wanted, and probably largely due to the fact that, have an urgency to play to get the puck back, but making sure that we take time and space away from their whole team, but especially their top players. And, that's a tough place to play in Western Michigan. And I thought our guys collectively, not just one line, but collectively as a group, our forwards indeed did a good job of doing that. So that's a challenge now coming into our rink here, coming off the Lindenwood weekend here and having a situation where, they're feeling good offensively. They've scored 8 goals against Ferris, 8 goals against Michigan Tech, and, Poland's, I think, had a hat trick in both games. So it's, we got to make sure we identify those players that are on the ice and do a good job of defending against them.
With how this year has gone, kind of how important do you think it was for you guys to get those pair of wins against Lindenwood under your belt right away for the second half?
Well, they were huge. I go back, and last year, I think we were probably a little bit better positioned in the NCHC standings than the pairwise last year at this time. But, we came off the break last year, lost to the national program, lost 2 games to Cornell, and it kind of put us behind the 8 ball a little bit. But, we responded from there. And it was so important, obviously, to have a good showing against the 18s, but also play against Lindenwood of coming back in those games. Like, you don't want to trail in games, but we found a way to win both games, trailing by a couple of goals. And again, it's a situation where our start will have to be a little bit better. Obviously, be a little bit sharper in goal and early on, and a little bit better defensively early on, so that it gives us a chance to maybe take the lead.
Getting ready to play Western Michigan for the second time, kind of what's your message to the guys about approaching the series against a team they've already seen before?
You know what? It's a playoff mentality for us. We've crept away. We're pecking away a little bit at the pairwise. We want to keep climbing in the NCHC race is tight right now. And at the end of the day, we got to collect points. We want to be top 4 to get playoff. We still want to win the Penrose, but we want to be top 4 here to get home ice. And again, just pecking away and having that one game mentality and like it's a playoff game, and having the urgency to execute in those games.
Do you think you guys are a better team than the last time you faced the Western Michigan?
Yeah, I don't know if about better team. I think guys, their games are starting to be a little bit sharper. Individually, guys, when you think of some of the, players on our team here that are contributing now. The Nick Portses, the Ben Strindens, some of those guys. Like earlier on, I think we were probably a little bit more one-dimensional with guys scoring goals, and now we've got some offensive input from other players, and you need that. So I would say probably the individual games have gotten a little elevated a little bit, which collectively is good for our team.
How's Frisch doing?
Yeah, good. That was quick. He's doing good. He didn't practice the last couple of days, and he skated today on Wednesday here, and he'll skate tomorrow. And I would say there'll be a good chance he'll be in the lineup on Friday.
What do you have to say about Judd Caulfield's play against Western Michigan, especially? I think 9 of his 25 goals are against him. You saw 2 of them in KZoo last time. Just what is it maybe about that team?
Well, maybe you can remind them too then of that of those stats. But no, I think it's just pretty similar player to what they are. They're a big, heavy team. They're fast. They go north. That's what Juddy Caulfield is, and he makes it difficult for defensemen to handle him. When he's playing his game and he's playing with a lot of pace, he can forecheck defensemen, separate pucks, and create offense that way. And I think the biggest part for Juddy, too, is just playing that simple, fast game, which allows him to analytically do what he does. And again, I think, it seems like, in sports, every player has a team that seems to have success against maybe 1 or 2 teams. Well, obviously, we want to try to keep that going with Juddy. But again, I think it's playing within his game, playing simple, playing direct, playing north, playing fast, playing hard.
Small thing, too, but Schmaltz and I think McAllister are the 2 best face-off guys in the conference. A small thing, but how big are those battles, too?
Well, they're huge, and that's been a staple of ours. We've been at the top in the country or near the top for the last 5 years in faceoffs, and I felt the last couple of weekends we've kind of dropped a little bit. And not that it's been egregiously under 500, but it seems like every time the puck is in our end of the rink for a D-zone faceoff, we lose a draw. Those are critical times, and I think we got to be a little bit stronger. Not only the centerman, but the wingers digging in to fight to battle those 50-50 pucks back. So yeah, it is a point of emphasis for us that we got to probably a little bit sharper in that area and make sure that these guys are very good at it, and we got to make sure that we get to that level or exceed that level.
I know we touched on it Saturday, but what is it about you guys just playing from behind?
Well, you know what? I think there's a relentless will. You know, I mean, and no panic. You know, like I said, I had to call a couple of timeouts there early in each game, and you know, the message was, you know, like there can't be any panic. You know, we got to stay positive on the bench, but we have to be better. There's got to be urgency. There's got to be a commitment, and you know, when you really look at it the first night when we were down a couple goals 4 minutes into the game, you still have 56 minutes left of the game, you know, and again, what are we going to do from there on in? And I thought our best periods both last weekend were both second periods on Friday and Saturday night. I thought we kind of took the game over in the second period, which set up the third.
And that's something that you've wanted to do all year. You know, the first period has been well for you.
Yep.
What was it, I guess, maybe that made that shift to later in the game where you guys start clicking? Because like I said, that's something that you've really wanted to see.
Yeah, well, I think it's just that, you know, that approach to the game of the habits and details that we have to do each and every shift and not waste the shift. And, you know, I think to gain momentum, you need to do that. You know, little things like, you know, getting pucks deep, changing out of the offensive zone. Second period, you can hem a team in because they have a long line change by changing out of the O zone, keeping pucks low and not letting them come off the ice, getting them tired, which builds momentum. And you know what? At the end of the day, you want to score, right? But at the very least, they don't play in your end of the rink.
You guys played really well against them last time, and they're obviously going to be looking to make some changes. Are there any adjustments that you anticipate as you prepare to host them this weekend?
Yeah, well, you know, you always look at the power play penalty kill side, right? Like, you know, obviously we've had success this past weekend with I don't want to say our second unit, but our other unit on the power play. And you know, they're going to make adjustments to try to guard against that. So we'll have to make adjustments as far as maybe if we want to tweak or change a little bit to keep them off. And that's the same for them. It's like kind of like cat and mouse a little bit, you know, as far as that side. There's no secrets with pre-scout. You can watch teams over the last 4 or 6 games, your games that you played against them. But you want to keep to your identity. You know, you don't want to worry about changing so much that it throws you off. You got to play to your identity, but make maybe a couple of tweaks and changes in there.
Brad, I think you had 4 draft picks in the stands
We did.
on Saturday night.
We did.
Talk about the competition during practice.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, again, you know, Dean Barsness is here. He played here a long time ago, and at the end of the day, it goes back to Gino and Blazer and all the coaches here, and the culture that you instill here is that you put a lineup together where you feel that you have a chance to win. And the guys, and again, nothing against the guys out of the lineup, but the guys that are in the lineup have elevated and earned that opportunity. You earn that opportunity, and you know, you go back to the national championship year in '16. Colton Sanderson was kind of the role player on our team. Didn't play a whole lot his first 3 years, and we had a couple NHL draft picks that didn't play in that game. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. And you know, we'll just field a lineup that earns it every single day and gives you a chance to win.
What have you seen from Tyler Clevin lately? I think he scored 6 points in the last 9 games or something like that. Kind of what have you seen from him as far as this player?
Well, I think just, again, when you talk about the offensive side of it, you know, everybody thinks Tyler Clevin, you know, a shutdown defender, big, heavy, physical guy, and he is. But at the end of the day, you're seeing a little bit of more of the offensive side that we knew he always had. And I think it's a situation now where he's keeping the game simple too, having that shot first mentality, being a threat when he has the puck. You know, you don't have to tell him to shoot the puck. You know, you always talk about guys that kind of maybe get in that grade A scoring area that look to the side of the net and don't put a puck there. Man, oh man, he'll get it to the net. And you love guys like that have the attack mentality. So again, like I said, he's feeling it right now. But at the end of the day, you know, we want to try to keep that momentum with him and keep the game in front of him.
When other teams like Lindenwood are really trying to take Gaudreau away on the power play, are there other things that the top unit can do when they're maybe so focused on one side of the ice?
Yeah, I think probably having a shot first mentality early in a power play. Like, it's not a problem winning the draw. And like, I think we won the majority of the draws when that top unit's out there to start the power play. I think we got to be more direct and get pucks to the net. When you can throw penalty kills off by getting the puck and putting it at the net, now they got to defend. It's when you move it around and they get into position and, you know, you waste time on the power play, but, you know, you're falling into what they want to do. And that's eat the clock and then get in shot lanes. I think we got to probably have more of a shot first mentality on that unit.
Bubs, the last 3 games, you've closed out. And I think that one your comment on that's kind of a team habit.
Yeah.
Is to, you know, have that confidence to close out. games.
Yep, that's a huge deal. We weren't doing that in the first half. You know, we'd have leads going into the third period, and momentum would go the other way. But I think it goes back into the fact that you talk about all the things you need to do to keep that clock rolling. Like, you know, we got the lead late in the game both times against Lindenwood, but the encouraging thing was, you know, we still went with 4 lines until the last 2 or 3 minutes, and then we went to our 6-on-5 up units. But at the end of the day, you know, keeping pucks in the offensive zone below the hash marks, changing at the right time, protecting the middle of the ice, not giving freebies on breakouts or net front plays, and then also clearing pucks, you know, from your end of the rink. So it was one of those things where, you know, our guys did a good job of closing out, like you said, but they had the habits and details of having confidence to do that. And it's good to do that so that you can remind yourself down the road that, hey, we can do this.
Have you seen the communication change kind of between the lines since the past couple games? Just they seem to be working a lot better.
The line combinations?
Yeah, with the communication between the players.
Yeah.
During the games, has that been like?
Yeah.
improving?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I think, you know, early on in the season, we were bouncing lines around a little bit here, trying to find combinations. And I think for the most part in the last few weekends of the first half and then start of the second half here, we've kind of been pretty consistent with our line combinations and guys feeling good about playing with each other and different things. And, you know, I think the biggest thing for us is, you know, when you go into a game and you have an extra skater, you either dress an extra D or an extra forward. And, you know, me being a D a long time ago, when you dress 7D, it's not always the best because, you know, sometimes you don't get enough reps or whatever. But as the extra forward, it's kind of nice to have an extra forward because if there's an injury, a guy that gets kicked out of a game, a situation where you need energy up front to forecheck, it's a good thing. You know, Ben Strinnen did a good job of being a 13th forward the last couple of games. He wasn't slated on playing on a regular line, but he earned the opportunity in both games to play late in the second and in the third to be on a line. And again, that goes to what, you know, Tim talked about, competition, you know, as far as creating competition in your lineup. Good?
Thanks, Joe.
Good, thanks, guys.